Hello, everyone. Welcome to Steve Rosenfield's stand-up comedy workshop show. Thank you so much for tuning in. What you're going to see tonight is an amazing lineup of stand-up comedians, some making their stand-up comedy debut, that have trained together in a workshop conducted by the award-winning comedy director, the founder of the American Comedy Institute, and the author of the book Mastering Stand-Up, Steve Rosenfield. Some of the alumni of this workshop have gone on to perform on The Tonight Show, The Late Show, Gotham Comedy Live, Saturday Night Live, Conan O'Brien. Oh, Conan, we will miss you on late night. And they perform in the greatest clubs all over the United States and all over the world. And we're so excited to be in the best club in the world, your living room or wherever you're watching this. Thanks for having us. We're very excited to perform. I love the comics on this show. I'm really excited to see their stuff. And my name's Michaela. I will be your host tonight. Hello. Yes, I'm in New York City. And I'm glad to be here, boy, because I spent the last 6 months in Florida and it was terrifying. But I wasn't alone. Thankfully, I was with two wonderful quarantine buddies. Ladies and gentlemen, they've been married for 26 beautiful years. They've now seen all 8 seasons of Dexter thrice. And they still don't believe in global warming. It's Mike and Tina Fagan, my parents, just the greatest COVID buddies you could ask for. They live in a 55 and over community. So I lived in a 55 and over community, and I couldn't fall asleep at night because I knew I was the only fertile woman in at least a mile. And if this became a situation where we had to repopulate the earth, there was going to be a line of old men knocking down my door. So I did what anyone would do. I established the parameters of the competition that would eventually ensue. It would be called the Viagra Games. You need an eligible active driver's license to enter. Step number 2 is a jitterbug competition to determine their style and flair. And 3, bocce ball to the death. I would procreate with the lone victor. So thankfully for the men of that neighborhood, I am back in the city. Happy Pride, everyone. It is Pride Month here in New York. We had our parade today. In college, actually, I was a lesbian for a minute, and I still am because I'm not a quitter. No, I'm not going to quit. It's difficult, but I stick it out. It's fine. I have a lot of straight friends, but I don't mind. I actually love it because I get all of their boyfriends' clothes from their failed relationships. It's a great perk. That thick, soft flannel he draped over her shoulders on the roller coaster so she wouldn't get chilly, that's mine now. And it can fit it like a wallet in the chest pocket. It's amazing. Sometimes they're apologetic when they hand it over to me. They're like, he was going through a Hawaiian shirt phase. Should I just donate these? I'm like, yeah, to me. Give them to me. I want them. It's to the charity Funky Dad shirts for me. I want them. I try and encourage a fling with a Hasidic Jewish man just because I'm trying to find an unobjectionable way to get my hands on one of those sweet floor-length, double-breasted silk black jackets. It's called a bekishe or a bekish. I've looked into it. It's only worn on the Sabbath, so maybe I could just borrow it and they don't have to break up. I don't know. We're working that one out. I'm working it out. Anyway, half of my wardrobe has armpit stains. And I'm okay with that. It's fine. It's fine. I love being in New York. I love this city so much. Some people are saying, though, it's a playground for the rich now. Only the rich can live here. It's a playground for them. And I can't help but agree, although they're not the only ones on the playground. We are the exhausted caretakers on the metal benches, eating our Cheerios out of little Ziploc bags, just dry Cheerios, making sure they don't hurt each other. Don't hurt each other, rich people. They're going up and down on I don't know if you call it a seesaw or a teeter-totter. They call it the stock market. They love that thing. They have so much fun on that. It's insane. And they always want you to watch them. They're like, watch me, I'm over here. Watch me climb Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I'm past success and I'm on my way to self-actualization. Those are the rich people in New York City. It's nuts. Back to Pride Month, though, I have amazing queer people in my family. It's not just me. I have an aunt and her wife. They're some of my favorite people in the world, and they have a crew of New Jersey lesbians, and their names are, I kid you not, Sue, Ellie, Karen, and Debbie, BJ, Gail, and Wheezy. These are real human beings. Wheezy is short for Weasela, of course. That's what they call her sometimes, too. They're so fun. And they love to give advice, although their advice just feels a little outdated. They came out in the 80s. So I'll ask them, like, hey, how long should I wait before I message this girl on TikTok? And they're like, okay, McKay, yes, here we go. Step number 1, marry a man, wait 10 to 12 years. I'm like, no, I don't want, I know that's what you did, but I don't want to do that. They're like, no, it's all part of the process. Okay. Step number 2, at your weekly all girls poker game, go on up to your friend Debbie, give her a passionate but clumsy kiss on the side of the cheek, wait 10 to 12 more years. It never happened. No. Then at your goddaughter's communion, Debbie will be there. She's like family. Go on up to Debbie, kiss her full on the mouth, tell her you die for her and live happily ever after. In secrecy, tell no one. Does that help? I'm like, yes, thank you. Thank you for the advice. It helps a lot. Thank you all so much. My name's Michaela. I'll be with you all night. I'm so excited to bring your first comic to the screen. She's performing all the way from Des Moines, Iowa. Give it up for the very funny Lisa Rossi.
I did not realize I was poor growing up until I married my husband. And he told me that his family summered in Europe. And I was like, what does summered mean? And then when I was 25, what's a dentist? You know, it's difficult when he and I are planning family vacations because he wants to go to like the Louvre in England or something. And I really want to go to Kansas to see the world's biggest ball of twine. What could be a better family vacation than looking at string? So a friend of mine the other day, a single friend, was asking me if it's normal to want to have a shower after sex. And I said, I'll have to think back. So I have been going to a lot of mom parties lately. And I have realized something about myself. I have inside of me exactly just 1 hour of good personality. After that, I go from nice mom to honest mom. And by that, I mean drunk and a little high. At one of these parties, a woman came over to me and she was like, oh, my son Emery got into the local Montessori school. And I said, oh, I just popped a Xanax and my gums are tingling. It's bad. I get inappropriate. With this Montessori mom, I was 2 white claws away from telling her that her husband had just checked me out. And I was 3 white claws away from telling her that I liked it. So I told her that I needed to leave the party so I could go home and look up some of my old boyfriends on Facebook. And something you need to realize about this is I think that these old boyfriends are going to grow up into like Ryan Gosling. They grow up into the old Santa at the mall, which should not be a surprise to me because when I was dating them, they always did say, hey, come here and sit on my lap, tug on my beard. Want to touch my velvet? So I did have a friend the other day who got engaged. And so I gave her some marriage advice. I said, never go to bed angry. Stifle your feelings. Swallow them. Let them fester. Have nightmares about your husband saying vile, disgusting things to you. Wake up furious at him. and to calm down, go downstairs for breakfast and have some vodka. Those are my pieces of advice for a happy marriage. Thank you so much. I am Lisa Rossi from Des Moines, Iowa.
Woo, Lisa Rossi. Give it up for Lisa. Your next comic coming to the screen is performing from New York City. He's a very, very funny performer and a good friend. Give it up for Isa O'Neill.
So I'm back in college for a summer semester. Over Zoom at full price. And frankly, I think they should be charging me extra. It's the most fun I've ever had in college. For example, I love the new rules our professors have made to make sure that we're paying attention. One of my professors grades us based on how many questions we ask in class. I like to ask him, could you please repeat that? And what do you mean by a 2-page paper? And when you say you'll get our grades back on Friday, will that be in the morning or the afternoon? I have another class called American Dreams, American Lives, and the professor grades us based on how much we participate in group discussions. She started one group discussion off by asking us to comment on early American colonization efforts from an intersectional deconstructionalist angle. One student raised his hand to say, yeah, I'd like to comment on how white saviorism, along with racialization, has been convenient tools to allot minorities into a part of our historical narrative and reify tropes. Now, I didn't know what anyone was saying. I didn't know what was happening. But I knew I had to say something in order to get a good grade. So I raised my hand and I said, yeah, I'd like to say, in addition to white saviorism and allotmentistic oppressionism, we need to consider bipartisan binary sexism. And my professor said, Isa, I'm not so sure I understand you. Could you please clarify? And I said, and my professor said, Isa, please unmute yourself. And I said, for my first homework for American Dreams, American Lives, we had to write about a song about the American dream and how it made us feel. I chose a song from Disney's Pocahontas. I wrote, how dare they? Sorry, no, that's not what I wrote. I've forgotten this joke. People ask me, hey, Iso, you know you can't get a date, but do you have any friends? And I say, thanks a lot, Mom. I actually do have friends. I called one up one time and I asked her for advice on how to get a date. And she said I needed someone to talk to. I needed something to talk to girls about, something we could relate over. So she asked me what my favorite songs were. And I said, well, my favorite song is the 2008 to present Jeopardy theme song. And my second favorite song is the 2001 to 2008 Jeopardy theme song. Because without that song, you don't have full context for the 2008 to present Jeopardy theme song. And she said, maybe we should talk about your favorite movies instead. And I said, well, my favorite movies are Predator, Predator 2, Alien, Alien versus Predator, Alien versus Predator 2, and Mamma Mia. And she said, I have some career advice for you. Become a monk. You're already going to be celibate. You might as well get paid for it. I recently got an internship. I was the only intern assigned to the accounting department. I immediately had a plaque made which read Isa J. O'Neill, Chief Accounting Intern. It's a type of plaque that looks really great on your desk. Unfortunately, the position did not come with a desk or a salary or any responsibilities or respect or prospects for the future. I asked my boss if I could get paid, and he said I already was being paid with experience, which could help me get a high-paying job later. And I asked him what high-paying jobs would require experience taking his clothes to the dry cleaners. And he said, you can get paid in money when you start providing something of value to the company. And I said, are you saying that I, as a person, provide no value? And he said, yes. A lot of people are making fun of a man who tried to run for City Council of New York called Zach Wiener. Some people are making fun of him because he had a sex tape that was leaked to the media. Other people are making fun of him because he was the one who leaked his sex tape to the media. I'm making fun of him because his last name is Wiener. Thank you very much.
Isa O'Neill. Let's hear it for him. Isa, what a guy. Your next comic coming to the screen is making their stand-up comedy debut. We're so excited to have him on the show, all the way from South Carolina. Give it up for Ari Weissman.
Woo! So I'm circumcised. And, a lot of people say that when you circumcise a child, it can scar them for life. And as somebody who was circumcised, I can honestly say that I still have flashbacks to this day, every single time somebody tries to cut my dick off. It's a fucking nightmare. But there are benefits. They say it lowers your risks of getting an STD. So far, that's been working for me, and I'm very confident it'll keep working even after I start having sex. Also, something like 75% of women actually prefer a circumcised penis. So just all you guys out there trying to get lucky, just go ahead and get a little snippy snip. Also, 99% of circumcised men actually say that helps them last longer during sex. And now I can confidently say that I am part of the 1%. So I'm about 5'6", 5'8" on Tinder. And, I really blame that on my mother. She only ever fed us organic, healthy food. I feel like if she had thrown in, fed us a few more Big Macs, I probably would have been like 6 feet tall by now. But it's not that I'm, annoyed at being short. I mean, I just feel like if I was just a little bit taller, it would open up so many more doors for me. Well, maybe not doors, but definitely cabinets. And if I were taller, more people would have laughed at that too. I already know it. But I teach martial arts to kids. And I taught them a chokehold. After class, a 10-year-old went home and choked out another student. In the 10-year-old's defense, they did call him fat. They pushed him. They hit him. I mean, okay, so the girl he choked was only 8 years old, but we all know Kimberly, and we know she's a bitch, and she deserved it. I got vaccinated recently. We've heard of all the side effects: cold, nausea, fever, whatever. There was only one that I was worried about: my parents' reaction. Let's just say they've been watching a lot of TV. Maybe they've been watching a channel that rhymes with Cox Blues. I mean, they always did say that, watching too much TV would rot your brain, and they were right. So my mom's biggest concern is that it's going to affect fertility. And I'm like, Ma, you got 6 kids and you're pushing 60. I mean, what are you worried about? So I got vaccinated, and I'm on this awesome road trip right now, and with my girlfriend, 1,000 miles in, she's like, Ari, you drive like a grandma. So I told my grandma's like, nah, man, you drive like a bitch. I mean, she's just a savage. But for the road trip, I bought a Prius, and, because I care about the environment. I always drive 5 miles below the speed limit. I use less gas. Everyone behind me uses less gas. I mean, I'm just doing my part for the environment. Why are you still honking at me? So I've started ring shopping. I should finish ring shopping, but I've been ring shopping for my girlfriend. We're a really good match. The ring she wants is just like me, kind of cheap, but still good looking. So she always likes to say that, the only reason she's dating me is because she lost her sense of taste to COVID. But I know she loves me because she's very supportive of my comedy. She comes to all of my shows. She's the reason I've never bombed. And I know what you're all thinking. She's faking it. I would know if she were faking it. All right? I would know. I would definitely know. Whatever. So the other day, a guy told me I sounded gay while doing a show. He's like, come on, man. You seem like the kind of guy who's experimented a little bit in college, tried it out. I said, what the fuck? What the fuck makes you fucking think that I went to college? What about this? Screams college. Thank you all. You've been a great audience. And over to you, Michaela.
Thank you so much. Ari Weissman. Ari, that was amazing. What a debut. So funny. I don't think she's faking it. I don't. But then again, I don't know. Who knows? It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. All right. Your next comic coming to the screen is performing from Thousand Oaks, California. She's hilarious. You're going to love her. Please give it up for Michelle Malizaki.
Yay, thank you. Oh my gosh. After 33 years of living in America, I still have fresh car smell. I mean, I like how I look. When I go to the grocery store parking lot, nobody bothers me to sign petitions. I was never forced to, or I never even asked to buy newspaper subscription. Lately, my Asian friends are worried about the hatred toward Asians. Some of them are buying guns. I bought a weapon too. A cannon. I take it to everywhere. When people get too close to me, I whip it out and shoot. Camera. And then they're like, oh, you are visiting. How nice. Stay longer. Spend more money. I learned English from watching American movies. I especially loved comedy of Charlie Chaplin's. I watched The Modern Time, Gold Rush, The Kid over and over again. And that's why I speak like this, learning English from silent movies. My comedy hero is Eddie Murphy. I want to be just like Eddie Murphy, a motherfucker. I really want people to listen to me, but nobody does. I even produce my own audience, 2 kids, but they don't listen to me. So I've been talking a lot to Alexa. My Alexa and I talk all the time. And I asked her what's her hobby. And he said, or she said, when she's not eavesdropping, when she's not helping others by answering questions, she likes to write and tell jokes. I was like, wow, that's great. Tell me some. And she told me one, and then another, and then another. Pretty soon, she was on her way to 20 minutes of material. I had to stop her. And then I said, oh, can I tell you my joke? She said, sure. So I did. Then she said, sorry, I did not get that. I listened to her for 20 minutes and I even chuckled. And she says, I did not get that. But yeah, Siri has jokes too, but Alexa has better joke. Siri's joke was, oh, why did the belt go to jail? Why? Because it held up pants. Not good. Alexa's joke, why did a cantaloupe jump into the swimming pool? Why? Because she wanted to be a watermelon. A knee slapper. I don't know. I was really upset with Alexa. I actually unplugged her. Then I realized I can't. I plugged her back in because she's the only one who could turn the TV on without complaining. My husband's mother passed away recently, and he talked at the memorial service. Afterwards, he got really mad at me because I told everyone I was so moved by his urology. He said, no, it's eulogy. Eu means to praise in Greek, and logy means study or interest of the subject. I have trouble with English already, and now I have to learn Greek. I did a set the other night, and afterwards this guy waved me over and he said, hey, Michelle, you should do more analogy. I know what that means. Logy is the study of the subject. I told him, I'm not that kind of a lady comedian who has interest in anal stuff. And he's like, no. It's like when you compare stuff to stuff, like. I'm like, I don't like you. Well, thank you so much, but I like you all because you listen to me. Thank you. I'm Michelle Marizaki from Thousand Oaks. Thank you. Yay.
We like you too, Michelle.
Oh.
Give it up for Michelle. I just did get a notification though. Alexa's Netflix special is dropping soon. So I'm so sorry, but she is going to make it big. She's a star. Alexa's a star. All right. Your next comic coming to the screen. What a great guy. So funny. He's all the way from Brunswick, Maine. Give it up for Christopher Ladner.
Hi, thank you, Michaela. I'm a mortician with 5 teenage daughters. You know what I love most about my job? The silence. You know what disturbs me the most? Knowing that some granny had open for business tattooed on her backside. Oh, you can't unsee that, ever. I understand that it's difficult to find the right thing to say at a funeral. I suggest staying away from, "She's never looked better," or, "Are you gonna keep the lake house?" My daughters are always embarrassed of me. This week it's because I refused to put a Black Lives Matter sign in our front yard. They called me a cis white male clinging to privilege and a unwoke Orientalist. They said they were all fed up with my anti-liquid modernity misogyny. So I told them, first of all, I don't understand a word you just said. Second, racists, they have funerals too. So unless you're going to plan on taking out a bunch of college student loans, you better hope I get a shout out from Tucker Carlson. I read a Washington Post article the other day that confirmed that daughters, rather than sons, are going to look at or are better at looking after their elderly parents. It confirmed my worst nightmare. They're never leaving me alone. People are asking me all the time how I end up with 5 teenage daughters. The first one, well, it all started when my wife got me drunk and promised me a threesome. I misunderstood. 2.5 years later, she demanded I consider staying home more to entertain our only child. I considered it, made sure she was pregnant that night. The third, well, she was that happy surprise you find out about after your first date night in 4 years. The night itself is still a bit foggy. I believe that we had a steak dinner, someone was in handcuffs, and I tried an Ambien, I think. No. 4 and 5, though, they're not mine. They're my second wife's. And when we were dating, she said how excited she was going to be to finally be married again so she could share me with her roommates. Again, I misunderstood. You might be curious if I have a favorite, but what you first have to understand is that a teenage girl can get her period about every 23 days. That means about every 3 weeks or so when all of a sudden she wakes up bloated and pissed off she can't button her pants, I'm expected not to breathe in her general direction or make eye contact without permission. Telling her I love you with a smile is an abuse of her personal space. In my house, that's times 5. And none of them are synced and none of them are regular. It's like living inside a live game of menstrual whack-a-mole. My favorite is the first one that elopes. Right now it's a toss-up, I guess. I've got Ophelia, Isabel, the one that's a vegan this week, the one that hates my guts for no apparent reason, and another one. She came home last week after her friend's bat mitzvah and was so excited that that kid's parents bought her a sailboat. She asked me, "Daddy, could you buy me a sailboat?" And I said, "Well, yeah. Yeah, honey, sweetheart, of course I could. We just have to get rid of your sisters." My youngest asked me the other day if I ever regretted having children. I told her, no, never. I regret not having the Porsche I wanted, or the lake house I dreamed of, weekends to myself, good credit, any credit at all for anything I ever do the rest of my life, or just dibs on the one of our bathrooms. I regret sharing literally everything that brings me joy. My pizza, the remote, and my wife, in that order. I don't have a lot of dreams left. I really appreciate you all being part of this one. Good night.
Oh, Christopher Ladner, that was great. Give it up for Chris. Chris, do you have a shed?
I should. I'm going to build one tomorrow.
Yeah, get a shed or just make one of the bathrooms a shed. Call it the shed, you know? Don't put some tools in there. Then you have
Wonderful
a
idea.
toilet, a man cave, all in one. And I
Wonderful.
think the one who hates you must just clearly be winning the game of menstrual whack-a-mole. I think that she's right on it. That could be the only reason. It has to be. Awesome. Your next comic coming to the screen. I'm so excited to see her perform. Please give it up from Los Angeles, California. At the moment, this is the very funny Jenny Strauss.
I was raised by hippies. When I was a kid, I thought everybody had an avocado pit perched on toothpicks over a murky glass of water. I thought everybody had sprouts growing on a moldy sponge in the kitchen windowsill. And I thought everybody's parents had parties in the woods where the men walked around in loincloths and the women were topless. I actually thought everybody got their belts from my next door neighbor, Crash, the weaver. I thought everybody got their smoothies from the guy who was barefoot and powered his blender with a bicycle. And you know, my mom told me that carob tastes just like chocolate. Even as a kid, I knew carob looks like chocolate, tastes like shit. When I was a young Jewish kid, I accepted Jesus into my heart. I didn't know the first thing about Jesus, but I was promised real chocolate chip cookies if I went to Sunday school. So I guess you could say I was saved by sugar. So my family was in this cult in Oregon. And when I tell people that, they're like, oh my God, they were that horrible group that tried to poison all the voters in that town. Your parents did that? And I'm like, no, my parents didn't do that. The higher ups did that. My parents answered the phone and dried the dishes. You know, I think a lot of people that work for Big Pharma were actually raised by hippies too. I mean, they give their drugs names that sound like my childhood friends. I swear I knew a girl named AstraZeneca when I was growing up. And I think her sister's name was Lyrica. I mean, think about it, because the old names of drugs were aspirin, Advil. I mean, those people lacked imagination. I would never name my kid Rolaids. So my parents are Jewish, and I've never understood the term Judeo-Christian. I mean, I don't know any Christians who would consider themselves Judeo-Christian, like we're all one big happy family sitting around the table, breaking bread while we have a friendly discussion about who killed Christ. And I've had people tell me I'm not a real Jew. Christians have told me that, which is really insulting because they mean it as a compliment. I mean, it's not like I'm a devout practicing Jew. I'm pretty sure, though, that Hitler would have offed me. And I tried to be a real Jew for one meal. The Seder, that's the ritual celebrating the Exodus. And like all Jewish meals, there's a lot of wine involved. So we drank, we prayed, we lit candles, we drank some more. And sometime between dipping parsley in salt water and reciting the plagues, I realized I was drunk and started belting out the only religious song I could think of. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So my last name is Strauss, and it's not exactly recognizable as a Jewish name. I mean, not like Goldberg or Bloomberg or Rosenberg. Of course, the closest I ever got was in grade school when they taunted me by calling me the hamburger. Once when I was a young teenager, my friend Haas, a huge biker, flipped his Harley and was in the hospital. So I went to visit him, and he was covered neck to ankles in a full body cast, except his balls, which were covered with a cloth. He proceeded to remove the cloth to show me how big and swollen they were. It was my first time seeing balls, so I guess you could say I have Haas to thank for becoming a dyke. Thank you. You've been a delightful audience.
Jenny Strauss, Jenny. I like relate to you, but from the opposite way, because I'm in church like Dayenu, 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 Dayenu.
Catchy song.
It's my favorite one. That is my absolute jam. Also, I'm gonna name my son Fluvoxamine. Thank you for the
excellent
suggestion. I love it. Thanks, Jenny. That was great.
Thank you.
Your next comic coming to the screen. This is our final performer of the night, and what a great one. She's spectacular. Please give it up all the way from Kansas. This is Regina.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Regina, and it can be awkward when someone mispronounces my name to rhyme with a female body part. I'm always like, wait, are you talking to me or her? And, just a bit of advice. If you don't know how to say somebody's name, just start with a way that doesn't sound like your naughty bits. Like if I see the name Dennis, I'm not going to call you Dennis. And I am really great at multitasking. I can slap a mosquito and discover that I have a bad sunburn at the same time. I've been thinking about moving to a big city, but there's some things I'd miss about Kansas. Like we have this game in bed. The rules are simple. I just feel something on my boob and then jump and shout, ah, is that a crumb or a tick? Ah. I know I'd miss that. And my older daughter was having trouble with 4 times 8. So I said, what's 4 times 6? She said 24. I said, good. What's 4 times 7? She said, I see what you're doing. I have an evil plot to teach her math. And I told my husband that our 5-year-old is becoming a hippie. And he said, what, you mean like from the 60s? I said, yeah. She said, I don't know, man. That's cool, man. And I think she's doing drugs. He said, you mean her gummy vitamins, right? I said, well, she asked me this really trippy question. She said, Mommy, why do I have a soul? I said, baby, how many of those gummy vitamins did you take today? And I always dreamed about playing games with my kids. My little one loves to play Marco Polo by her rules. Okay, I say Marco, you say Polo. Marco, Polo, just back and forth. We're not in the pool, not looking for each other. And we just keep going until somebody shouts, I can't stand it anymore. She's undefeated. And as a mom, it never fails. Every time I sit down, someone needs me. She came up to me and said, I love cookies. I said, me too. Cookies are delicious. She said, let's try this again. And walked in a circle back to me and said, I love cookies. She was expecting me to get up and get her some cookies. But you know what? Now I want cookies too. So she asked me the other day, Mom, are we rich? I said, no, but we're happy. She said, Mom, we can be happy with money. I wish I would have thought of that years ago. And, I think a small part of every parent wants to get back at their kids for waking them up so much when they were babies. Go in their room. Hey, I'm hungry. I'm uncomfortable. I don't know why I'm upset. Let him go back to sleep. Wait 10 minutes. Hey, I'm hungry. Can I have some cookies? Thank you, guys. My name is Regina. You've been a wonderful audience.
Woo, Regina! Regina, great idea. You can even wait a little bit, like a few more years, and do what my mom does, which is call me when I'm hungover and want to talk. Just want to talk. It's the worst. Similar. Awesome job. All the comics. That was really fun. Thank you all so much for watching. Give it up well, I'd say give it up for all the comics, but do it in the chat. Give it up in the chat for all the comics. Thank you for watching. We have workshops online every single month. So no matter where you live, you can be part of the American Comedy Institute and work with Stephen Rosenfield and pursue your dream of doing stand-up comedy. Our next one starts on July 13th. You can visit comedyinstitute.com to learn all about it. My name's been Michaela. Thank you so much.